Welcome to Unstoppable Real Estate Investing Wealth. My name is Billy Alvaro, aka the Unstoppable VA, former billion-dollar mortgage banker, gone bankrupt, turned professional real estate investor. Where each week you'll learn the tools, strategies, systems, and secrets myself and other highly successful real estate investing entrepreneurs use to start, grow, and scale their businesses, creating massive profits, and how you can too. And we'll teach you how to put those profits to work so you no longer have to. Get ready to finally experience financial freedom and generational wealth. Now let's get started.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unstoppable REI Wealth. I am your host, Billy Alvaro, here to bring the heat again, another week, another podcast, bringing stuff to you to hopefully take your business from where you are to where you want to go. If you've watched this podcast any length of time, you know I'm all about teaching you guys the tools, tips, and tricks, strategies, systems, and secrets on how to get you to start, grow, and eventually scale your real estate investing business. And being that we're in a changing environment, the climate's starting to change, interest rates are going up, and the market's definitely going to shift. We're going to do a couple of different solo shows, teaching you guys, giving you guys some of the insights of what we're doing to position ourselves. And on this one, this is really going to be going over the systems in order to our rehabbing systems, in order to take your company and to really position it for the next upcoming years of what you need to do in order to have your real estate rehabbing systems dialed in. Now, I'm gonna give you like a pre-form this thing. I'm gonna pre-frame this whole thing. I am not a contractor. I'm an investor that understands contracting, knows how to run jobs, created a shit ton of systems. Some I've taken from other people's courses, others we designed ourselves. But the whole key point, if you're going to grow and scale in the real estate investing side, on the rehabbing side, you really need to have your shit dialed in. You have to have your systems dialed in. So today's show is going to be just about that. What I'd highly recommend, if you're listening on the podcast, great. We are going to be going over a lot of videos. I'm going to be sharing you a lot of the clips that we have, or forms rather, that we have in our contractor systems that we utilize. So if you want to see all of this, you want to go over to YouTube, look up Unstoppable REI Wealth, look for this particular show, which is going to be the Billy Solo Rehabbing Systems. And we're just going to go over, what we use, why we use it, and give you guys some of the systems and secrets that we utilize in order to really scale your real estate investing, rehabbing business. Now, the market is changing, as I said earlier. And, if you're a wholesaler, I believe that part of the business is really going to go by the wayside. The reason being is it's going to be easier to get deals down the road. And when it's easier to get deals, and when deals are plentiful, that means that anybody and their mother can go either to the MLS, they can go to the courthouse, they can send out direct mail. It's going to be a lot easier to bring in deals, which means those people that are going to be maximizing their profits are those that have rehabbing companies where they can take the properties, add value, put them back in the market, or those are going to be very good with creative financing. I think wholesaling is still going to be there because there's just some contractors out there that have absolutely no idea how to get deals. But I remember when the market shifted back in like 09, 10, 11, somewhere around there, 8, 9, 10. And it was really those guys that made a ton of money were the ones that took them down to buy and hold, and also those that picked up the properties, renovated them, put them back in the market, because the properties had to be pristine to beat out all the crap that was currently on the market. You had to differentiate yourself. So if you're not rehabbing, you're going to get some benefits out of this. If you are rehabbing, some of this stuff you might know, some of it might be new to you, but I'm just going to show you our way that we run our rehabbing business. And we're doing hundreds of deals on the rehabbing side, and we're literally scaling the crap out of it in both New York and New Jersey. Now we're heading into Pennsylvania to do this as well. So first thing is the system. What system do we utilize? Let me share my screen with you guys so you can see this. Let's see if I can get this thing down and not screw it up, because I screwed up last time. Boom. Let me go to, let's see here. How do I go to full screen? Let's see, right here. There we go. That works. Okay. All right. So if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you're going to see the first system I want to talk about is our contractor management system, our rehabbing systems. And we use a system called Build a Trend. And so we got licensed as a contractor a couple of years back. in both New York and New Jersey. The name of the contracting company is AG Construction. This system manages all of our projects from beginning to end, regardless of the scope. So if we're just going into a property and doing a lipstick job, it's in here. And if we're going in and doing a full-blown renovation, soup to nuts, or if we're doing new construction, that's in here as well. So the first thing you want to see in the side here, it's all of our projects. I'm not going to go into the projects themselves. What I really want to focus on is I want to focus on the systems that we built within Build-A-Trend. So Build-A-Trend, if you don't know, it's a project management system that's really robust. All of our PMs have it on their cell phones, or their subs have Build-A-Trend on their cell phone, and they have access to the job that they're working in. And we have a mandate that at the end of each day, we have an automatic text blast that goes out to all of our subs that are on the jobs. And it tells me it's 4:30. Two things. Make sure, A, you clean up the whole property inside and out. Make sure it's spotless, that you don't have crap sitting all over the place. And number two, and I don't mean number two taking a shit, number two is that you want to go in and take pictures of what you've done today and also of the job site to make sure it's clean, right? So our contractors are mandated. They get an automatic text every single day at 4:30. They go in. If by 6 o'clock p.m. they don't actually have their stuff uploaded, we have the construction coordinator that's hitting them via a text or a phone call and saying, hey, you guys are going to get docked if you don't upload your pictures, because we're real strict with this. Our project managers don't go to the job sites every single day. They go 2, sometimes 3 days a week. So in order for them to manage these projects effectively and efficiently, we rely on the systems that we have and our subs. And look, if you've been in this business for any length of time, you know dealing with subs, I don't want to be an asshole, but sometimes it's like babysitting. You have to really follow up and follow through with everything. Just like anything in business, you have to follow through. But I found with the contracting world, it's a little bit more in depth, because these guys, sometimes they're not business people, they're tradespeople, and you just need to like hammer them down and make sure that you get them to follow the process that you guys are setting. So inside here, inside Build-A-Trend, if you're listening, I'm going to try to guide you through as best I can using the verbs, the words. If you're watching, you'll be able to see my screen. So in Build-A-Trend, you have a couple of sections. The one section we have is all the deals. I'm not going to go through that. There's a section here called Global Docs. Global Docs, I want you to think about this as your Dropbox within Build-A-Trend. This is where we have all of our procedures, all of our processes, all of our flows, all of our checklists, everything you could possibly imagine to run a construction job from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, is inside here. So if you're looking at this screen, you're going to see the overall process flow. We have folders that are labeled. Each folder has a name on it. We have admin docs, self-explanatory. We have Build-A-Trend training specific to Build-A-Trend, templates and workflows, which I'm going to go into that one in detail. Scope details, package selections, payments, final walkthrough and punch list items, contracted coaching files with Marissa. We hired a coach out of California to walk us through and really grow the construction company. And that all her files are inside there. The contracted vendor files and process, we'll go through that. Easy texting is the thing I just spoke about, and so on and so forth. So this internal global docs is everything that you're going to need to grow and manage your construction company. And so how this comes in handy, if you document basically everything that's going on inside your business, just like in your real estate investing business, in your wholesaling business, if you're doing sales training or marketing, everything should be dialed in. You can't do it overnight. All this stuff comes into play over time. As you're doing something, you want to document it. I'm going through this today because we hired an additional project manager in New York. And for me to train him, he's in New York, I'm in New Jersey. I'm taking a few hours each day. I'm discussing through in detail the training items that are inside Build-A-Trend that we've created, that we've put in here. He's then going through and he's watching the videos, reading the information that's put inside there, coming up with his own notes and questions. And then him and I go back and we'll have another conversation to address any of the questions that he may have where it wasn't 100% clear. So the first thing I want to go into is the templates and workflows, and I'll explain to you why. So inside this folder, this is basically the Bible of how to get things done, right? So if you come in here it starts off with 00, the max returns project initiation. Inside this form, it's a workflow. And this workflow basically shows anybody who's going to be involved with our company, whether they're on the construction coordination side, which is the administrative side, it says here up top, or on the bottom side, which is actually the project manager. And you can see all these boxes are color-coded. Every box that's color-coded, it shows down here on the bottom who's responsible for that box inside the role. Now, you'll see there's nothing specific. There's no details in this workflow process that we created. This is just the overall flow of when a deal comes in, what are the necessary steps that have to be done, and who's responsible to make that step happen. So if you come in here, I'm going to give you an overview. When the deal first comes in, because we're not dealing with retail sellers, we're dealing with our own investment company. So when a deal comes in, we get a deal, the investment company goes through, orders inspections, we set up financing, we pull OPRAs or foils, depending on what state, and we order title, because that's going to give us our violations and C of O issues in New York. And we order all inspections. Inspections could be the home inspection, it could be a survey, it could be any number of different things inside here that the inside team orders. And then from there, if you notice, the color-coded, on the bottom it says who's responsible. So the blue is our construction coordinator. The yellow is our closing coordinator, closing coordinator. The green is our project manager. What is that? The pink is the designer, and I guess you call that like orange, is the office manager. So each box is labeled out with who's responsible, who has to do what, and what the flow is. Now, if you come down here in the bottom, the first thing that happens once we get a deal, inside Build a Trend, we get triggered, and the team basically meets. We have an internal pre-construction meeting. And again, this box, every single one of these boxes, there's other forms and there's other details that go along with it in different folders inside the training system, inside Build a Trend. And so with this workflow, we're able to know on any given day what property is in what phase, what the next step is. And then if we go to that file folder inside Build a Trend, it gives us details, or it gives the actual person responsible to do that job the details of what actually has to happen to make the job work, right? So without this workflow, without a process flow, if you have multiple PMs working inside your business, think about this. If everybody was doing it their own way, there's absolutely no way for you to manage quality control of what's going on with your jobs, both on the scoping side and then on the job itself with ordering materials, doing the inspections. If you're leaving it up to just a general idea of what your PMs want to do and you don't have it structured and dialed in, you guys are going to be losing money and losing your ass. Like without these documents, I'd be losing my shit, to be honest with you, because I don't go to these jobs hardly ever anymore. There was a time a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when COVID first hit, I was out all the time for shits and giggles, checking out the properties because, one, truth be told, I didn't have a project manager in New Jersey, so I was the project manager, so I was forced to go out. And then once we did hire the project manager, I was still going out just to ensure that the jobs that he was doing was getting done to our quality standards because he was brand new. And now when I have the new guy starting in New York, it's the same thing. I'm training him online. I'm able to break down everything with him over Zoom based on our workflow engine, based on all the documents that we have inside Build a Trend. He does the work. I review it on Zoom. And then eventually, yes, I'm going to have to go out to Long Island and spend just a few days just to see the work that he's doing, if he's actually following the guidelines, because there's only so much you can see in pictures and Build a Trend. You're going to want to get your eyes out there. But I'm going on a tangent. Let me get back into you. So on the workflow, rehabbing systems, right? We come in, we do an internal pre-construction meeting. That's when myself and the PMs meet. I give them an idea of what we're doing to the property based on the ARV that we're going to try to get. Give them the idea, then they go out to the property, and here's where some interesting shit happens. They go out to do a field survey, and they take pictures, and they do this whole planting at the house. So we just got this new system that we picked up, and I can't remember the name of the camera. It's an IMAX or an iMetrics. I'll figure it out and put it inside the show notes. But we picked up this camera. It's a $3,000 camera, basically with a 2,000 square foot house. My PM can now go to this property. Instead of him taking pictures and doing measurements and doing all this crap, he's able to set this machine down. And within a 2,000 square foot house, it takes 20 minutes to do full pictures of the whole entire house, does a complete general walkthrough of the property so you could actually walk through. And within 24 hours, he sends it out to a company. Within 24 hours, they send it back. We have a full floor plan of the property. We have all the dimensions of the property that are within an allowable number to be almost right on point. Like it's a very small variance that with the actual versus what this machine does. And the key thing is the floor plan's done. We have it in CAD. And now we're able to, on step number 3 here on the project management, we're able to go through and to do a design and layout with our designer, with our PM, and myself if I need to be involved. And so this happens. Our PMs have the ability to go out to a property, and within 40 minutes, it's 20 minutes for a 2,000 square foot house. You figure setup and breakdown. Within 40 minutes, he has all the detailed pictures of the property inside and out. He has all the measurements of the property, and I'm talking measurements for everything. The window dimensions, the kitchen sizes, all the walls, all the trim, everything inside this property. He's then able to take that, push it to the company who does the rendering. They take it, they render, they put it into a floor plan with CAD. They send it back, and then myself, our construction coordinator, our designer, and our PM get on a phone call. Usually takes 15 minutes to a half an hour. We're going to move down this wall. We're going to take this, open up the kitchen over here. We're going to put whatever. We're going to create a master bathroom on this side of the house. We're going to add a room in the back. Whatever we need to do, within 15 minutes, we rearrange. We have everything done. And if it's a permitted job, because we're doing a big job, we then take that whole file, send it over to our professional services, which is step number 4 up here. If it's a permitted job, we always get our architects or engineers, any of the professional services that's needed. And now instead of them, they're still going to go out there and do the field review. But now at least we have an idea of how we want the house to look. We give it to our architects. They're already ahead of the game. They can go out, they can inspect the property, take their own measurements to ensure that we have everything up to speed and that the measurements are right on target. And they're always going to be off slightly, right, with this camera system. But for our purposes, speed is everything. When you're doing properties and you're renovating and you're trying to go from A to Z, you want to make sure that you're like dialing your shit in. And the only way to do that is to have these freaking systems dialed in and to leverage any type of process that's out there or system or technology. For us, the first piece I told you about was Build a Trend. The second piece I'm going to tell you about, I got to get the name of this thing. I can't remember. I think it's iMetrics or IMEX. But it's 20 minutes. It's a 3,000 piece of equipment. I bought 2 of them, one from New York, one from New Jersey. Within 20 minutes, the house is done. Within 1 day, everything is back. Full walkthrough of the property, plus all the design. Plus the whole floor plan and all the measurements, and it's in CAD. Sick, ridiculous, saving yourself time. All right, walk through the rest of the process. Once that property, once the design and layout, we speak about that, we go through. Our project manager then goes through and he designs a preliminary scope of work. This is basically a writer giving the subs that he's going to hire details of everything that we're going to do. Now, I want to stop here for a second. I want to share with you another file, if I could find it, and put it on here. Of course, I can't find it, right? Let me just see if I can get out of this. Exit full screen. Here we go. Let me go back to full screen so you can see it. Okay, so part of our rider that we do, part of our scope of work is we create a detailed scope of work based on what we want done to the property, right? And what we found over 13, 14 years of doing this is that if we don't have the project expectations and quality control guidelines attached to the scope of work of how we want each item to do, the trades basically do whatever the hell they want. Some of them, even if you're getting permits, and if it's a non-permitted job, different story, because you have to really micromanage to make sure that they're doing things to the right standards. But permits or not, the contractors will take shortcuts. The contractors will do what they think is right for the property, and that's not how we're going to run things. That's not how we get things done the right way. That's not how you McDonald's the whole process in your rehabbing company to get everything done and structured from A to Z. So we created over years of trial and error of really getting our asses handed to us. when our project managers create our scope, our detailed stuff of what's going to happen, we're going to rip and put on a roof. We're going to rip and put in siding. We're replacing windows. We're putting in a brand new kitchen. And of course, all the measurements and stuff are going to be on a different doc. We're putting in flooring, and here's the flooring type. We're ripping and putting in all new trim. This document, when we give them the scope, we refer them and say, anything on this scope that you're going to do, refer to our quality control, our project expectations and quality control guideline sheet to show you exactly how we want each parts of these jobs done. So what does that mean? I'm going to come up here. I'm going to say, okay, exterior general. So here's what, if they're doing any type of foundation work, this is what we want our expectations is for the foundation. If they're putting in roofing, here's what we want our expectations for the roof. We're going to install the Cobra ridge vent, hip and ridge singles, ice and water is going to be on there. We're going to have 15-pound felt underlayment. So everything that we want them to do, here's the specifics, the quality control and expectations of how to actually do that job. We're covering roofing, chimney, anything inside the attic, how to install the siding, what our expectations are for gutters, when you're putting in the windows, how to actually put in the windows and hang them. On the electric, all the issues that we could experience with electric and how to overcome them and make sure that they're doing things the right way. And we tell them that we're getting underwriter certificates, all the GFIs are where they need to be. Like, we're breaking down everything. Plumbing. We had a lot of issues in our houses with plumbing. They wouldn't tie in the plumbing the right way and do the vents. And so they'll try to take shortcuts. This is telling them what the expectations are. It's attached to the overall scope. They sign off on it. If they F up and they don't do something right, they're getting docked. And they know that. They're going to do it the right way because we inspect everything. If it's not us, it's a home inspector that comes in, or it's the county if we're getting permits, depending on the size of the job. And we go through and we inspect all this shit. HVAC, when you're installing the HVAC, what do we expect? What are our expectations with that? When we're doing finishing basements, what's the expectations with finishing basements? When we're putting in the kitchens, the bathrooms, the windows, the gutters, the siding, the chimney, anything you could possibly imagine is on this list. And we have details inside here of exactly either how we want it laid, what the code is, how we want it structured, any issues that we normally find, we put them in here to say, here's the issues we usually find. Please make sure you don't do it like that. And so this one document, it's called Save You Bacon. It has literally saved our ass, and it's saved the contractor's ass as well, because they know now what the expectations are. And when you have somebody that understands the expectations, they're willing to do things in a different way, or at least they know they're being held to a higher standard, right? So let's go back in here. So after our project manager creates the scope of work, we figure out if it's permitted or not. It goes to professional services. The budget comes in. The final rider is printed out. We approve it. The owners of the company does an approval on this, and then it goes right over to our bidding process for the contractors. We go through bidding. We select the crews. We coordinate the subs. Here's another difference that we did, another little change. Years back, we used to hire all of our subs, and we would rely on them for material bid and for labor bid. And what we found is that they would just over-order materials, charge them to our job, use the materials at another job, or they would just beef up the materials where we weren't really paying for what we were getting, and we were paying more for these jobs. So what we did is we broke it out. We said mandatory. We're going to be responsible. Our company, we have a material ordering purchasing system, and we do all the takeoffs, and we do all the bids for material, and we order all the material, make sure the material's at the job site. That little thing right there has probably saved us 3 to 6% on jobs, which, when you're doing 90, 110, 140, 200 of these properties a year, 3, 6, 9% to the bottom line, or 9% savings rather, is huge because it goes right down to the bottom line. So we order all of our materials inside, with the exception of any rough electric and any rough plumbing and full HVAC. So when we get our bids for that, we just have them break out the labor and the material breakouts in separate lines. But for everything else, roofing, siding, windows, any type of lumber, sheathing, laminate flooring, regular flooring, trim, kitchens, baths, anything else, it's on us. We have a whole process that we do the ordering. And once we get through here, my project managers, they order the materials. They make sure we have all the tools and equipment on site. They then conduct a pre-construction meeting with all the subs, phone call and on site, and then it's kickoff time. And there's a whole other process as this is going through. If you're watching on the video on YouTube, you'll see this bottom flow lane is all in the field with the project manager. Up top, as all this stuff is happening down here, on the upper side, we have the construction coordinator, or we have other people inside doing certain things. Like they're doing the build-a-trend setup. They're setting up QuickBooks as a QuickBooks setup. They're getting all the contracts signed for all the subs after our project manager picks out which sub is going to do what. The construction coordinator is ordering all of the insurances, the workers' comp. She's documenting all of this, putting it inside Build-A-Trend, sending it out via DocuSign and making sure it gets done. She then does a coordination, develops a schedule with the PM, sends that out to the project to the subs, and everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what has to happen, and we meet in order to make sure your renovation company is running smoothly. You have to have working meetings every single week. So for our project managers, we meet with them every Monday and Tuesday. Usually takes about 90 minutes. And in those meetings, we're not going over procedures. We're not going over workflows. We're going over specifics of all the deals that we're doing. And, some of our project managers have 30, 35 projects going on at one time. And so you have to make sure that you have weekly catch-up meetings, have everything documented inside Build-A-Trend. We have our construction coordinator on that call. We sometimes have our designer on that call. I'm on that call, and our project manager's on that call. And we just rip through every single file to make sure there's any issues that we need to be aware of, anything that ownership needs to be involved with. And it basically just keeps everybody on the same page to make sure that the workflows are being adhered to. And if there's issues, if there's something that's popping up during the week, we just put them on our issue list. And then on that Monday and or Tuesday, depending on what PM we're dealing with, we go over. Then, in order to really grow your company, right, in order to grow your real estate investing company and or your rehab arm of the company, I suggest having another meeting a week. And that would be your working on the business meeting. We do that every Thursday from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Eastern. And what we do in that meeting is we'll pick out one process, one problem, one system, one something that we want to focus on, that we want to build into the company. And in that meeting is myself, both project managers, the construction coordinator, my executive assistant, and the designer on these properties. And we all have input. And my executive assistant is taking notes, and she's creating all these workflows that we're doing. Now, we might be able to whack out in a 1 hour segment, one process that we map out and we put into play. Sometimes it takes us 3 to 4 weeks to come up with a process like this. This one, the last iteration on this was December 14, 2021. This took us a couple of weeks to do. And then each one of these boxes, and I'm talking about our workflow process. Each one of these boxes, we went through, and it took us several weeks to break down all of the details inside these boxes. What we do, I'm going to take you into Build-A-Trend so you can see. So inside here in our templates and workflow, you see we have the project initiation. We have training sheets in here of how to do, how to figure out the budgets. We have a couple of videos inside there, how to do budgets. We have how to figure out and do a scope of work, how to fill out a rider template. In here, a breakdown of the scope of work and material list broken down by each phase of the process. What is the materials that are needed? Let me see if I can open this one up. So this one here, this is actually breaking down the overall property of how to go through and review the inspection report for big ticket items and how to order, like we use Eagle View for ordering, how to order Eagle View and make that happen. And Eagle View is basically the system that we utilize to do takeoffs for roofing, for siding. Our rough material list, what rough material list do we utilize on just about every single job? It gives our PMs a simple checklist, so that all they have to do is fill in the amounts, and they can send that right over to whatever company we're ordering from. Usually it's Home Depot. Let's see here. Here, scope of work. This is the how to create the scope of work workflow. You know, what to look for when they're at the property and what to look for when they're doing the home inspection, and then actually how to break down the scope of work. Very simple process, but this whole workflow, it allows our project managers to not ever forget how to do something, and really just structures the whole entire process so they're able to get things done in an expedited fashion. We have down here, let's see here, we have final template, a punch list. We have internal workflows for the jobs. Anything you could possibly imagine to run your business when it comes down to rehabbing, the rehabbing part of the business, it's inside here. We have scope details, like how to figure out and do a scope. This is the details of that main page. So look, the bottom line is this, guys. If you want to take your company to the next level, and you're looking to go from 4 or 5 renovations a year, or 10 or 15 renovations a year, and scale it up to 50 or 80 or 100 plus renovations a year, the point of this whole podcast is you have to have your shit dialed in. You need to, one, leverage technology that's out there. We went through a bunch of different technologies. We chose Build a Trend. What's right for me might not be right for you, but it's certain systems that we utilize. We utilize for takeoffs for roofing and siding. We're utilizing Eagle View for the internal of videos and pictures of the property, along with an automated plan layout of the inside with all of the dimensions and a full CAD file so you can do your takeoffs. We utilize the other company, I think it's iMetrics, but anyway, we utilize that. So the point is with this whole thing, you want to leverage the systems that are out there in order to scale your business. Rehabbing is, you can make a shit ton of money. It's called iGuide. That's it. So I had a brain fart. I just looked up my phone. iGuide is the system that we're utilizing. It's about $3,000 for the camera, and 100% will streamline your business. It's a small investment that's going to save your PM, or you, if you are the PM, a shit ton of time to allow you to get these properties filmed, to allow you to get the current floor plan in, to put it into CAD, so you can then take it and start manipulating it. And also, it's just good to have for all your trades, so they can see, okay, here's the current floor plan. This is what we're going to do. If you're getting permits, you're going to have your architect go out there. But this, for us, it's awesome, because if we're not getting permits, it allows our PMs to go out there and not have to do a complete takeoff list for 2 hours at the property. They can spend 20 minutes, send out this document, this iGuide over to the company that does the rendering. They put it together, they send it back, and the next day, within a few minutes, he's able to start allocating and figure out all the various takeoffs in the property, and then we can manipulate the CAD file. So I know I rambled, I know I went on a little bit. It's a half hour in. You want to get to the next level, guys, you have to systematize. Part of this podcast is all about talking about systems. Build a Trend, iGuide, the Eagle View. These are 3 systems, and we have many, many, many other systems that we utilize inside the rehabbing company that we've started years back. Key point is just make sure you leverage it, make sure you document it, make sure you have consistent meetings. And if you want to scale, you have to get into some sort of a process and system and technology like Build a Trend to take you guys to the next level. If you need me for anything, you guys can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Unstoppable BA. Also, you could follow me on YouTube. All these videos that we do, all the podcasts that we do are also created into a video. They're put on my YouTube channel. Check out Unstoppable REI Wealth. And again, if you guys want to joint venture, if you want to invest with me, so let's talk about joint venturing. On an average basis, monthly, I have 2 to 5 people that I'm doing deals with, where they'll call me up from another state, say they have a deal in New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Connecticut, and they'll say, hey, I got this deal. What do you think? You want a JV? And we'll do a joint venture together. Maybe we'll wholesale a deal together. Maybe we'll renovate the deal together. I have other people that they just want to put their money to work. So if you have money, you want to get into real estate investing, but you don't have the time or the expertise, but you do have cash and you want to invest, the best thing you can do is to get with an operator who fully understands this whole real estate game and how to win at the game. You win at the game by knowing the rules and by systematizing your shit, and by having quality people in with you to make things happen. So if you're looking to invest, whether it's in single family homes, in fix and flip, and you just want to be hands off and you don't want to be bothered with anything, I have a really cool thing. It's called Low Risk Max Returns. It is a whole training process, whether you invest with me or somebody else. Check it out. It's a great system. It shows you guys how to invest securely in mortgages and notes, how to get yourself a return that's substantially higher than anything else that you're used to, but how to also make sure you're secure and it's safe with investing in these types of assets, the documents you need, all that crap. So go to Low Risk Max Returns to check that out. And then again, if you just want to learn from me, I had a whole coaching thing I was doing years back. I'm probably going to kick that back into gear as group coaching. The one-on-one coaching, this was a little tough for me just because of time. But group coaching, I'm going to be getting back into. Any of these things that you want to learn about or you want to hit me up with, go to billyalvaro.com. And on that website, you can just fill out this Learn with Billy, Partner with Billy, Invest with Billy. One of those three. If you want to do anything with real estate, hit me. I'm there. And by all means, follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Unstoppable BA. I will be back next week. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for following me. And I wish you nothing but success. Get ready. The ride is going to be a little humpy and dumpy and a little crazy the next couple of months. It's going to be crazy. So buckle up. Make sure you're dialed in, because when we get through what we're about to go through, there's going to be unstoppable wealth on the other side. Take care, guys.